Yo, 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 hello YouTube. Welcome to Ocean Blue and Trouble FC. So today we have a very good discussion going into the World Cup, right? Going into the 2026 World Cup. And our discussion is between Kylian Mbappe and Antonio Griezmann, who was who had a better performance in the 2018 World Cup. His team Mbappe, ham team Antonio Griezmann. So, brother, let's talk about it.
You go first. Lay it out.
Lay it out. It's very easy, right? Antonio Griezmann had 4 goals, 2 assists. Mbappe had 4 goals, no assists. Griezmann had 10 chances created. Mbappe had 9, right? Griezmann had 3 Man of the Match awards. Mbappe had 1, right? Griezmann was more influential when it came to the knockout phase, scored and assisted in the final. You know, go cut this side first. I don't know my okay. uh Griezmann was very influential for this team, right? In the round of 16 versus Argentina, he won a penalty and scored. In the quarterfinal versus Uruguay, he scored and assisted. In the semi-final versus Belgium, he was instrumental in their build-up play. He was literally that front man, right? In the finals versus Croatia, he scored and assisted. Kylian had an amazing performance, but he didn't just outperform Griezmann in that team. That's my point.
See, if you say Griezmann, like let me be real with you. I was not that able to follow up the World Cup band for band. I watched a little bit, but nah, not that deep. But what I've watched, the clips I've gone back to watch, how electrifying Kylian Mbappe was. His dribbling, the way of carrying the ball, progressing the ball was impeccable. And there are things that you will not just see at the top of your head. I'm going to clarify this. The man of the match award sometimes is not given to the man of the match. It's a award that we might always argue about. We might always be like, it could go to this person, it could go to this person. I'm not taking away the man of the match, which Griezmann got. I'm just saying those awards, like me, if I'm arguing something about a player, I don't put it. But I understand if you put it, it might be a valid point for you. I understand, but I generally me, not just in Griezmann's case, in anybody's case. Because I remember the time they were arguing Bellingham and Pedri. I never even thought of it. Like that's for me, that's number one that is offing me. Then in terms of chances created, Griezmann is a calm, first of all. Struggling like creating 10 chances and Mbappe creating 9, less of one. In that same team, Griezmann was a set piece taker, in which 30% of his chance creation came from set pieces. Not still taking anything from set pieces, but mostly in that World Cup, big chances were being missed. People did not convert the chances which people created. Most of 70% of Griezmann chance creation was not converted in that World Cup. That's why he had 2 assists. And the 2 assists came from a set piece chance creation. That's to show you how bad the team too did not try in converting chances. Kylian Mbappe walking off the wing was still creating 9 big chances. Griezmann scored 4 goals. Those 4 goals, I'm not saying penalty goals are not goals. They are goals. You can't take anything away from them. But in a scenario where you have someone that scored 50 goals, I have someone that scored 50 goals, and out of these 50 goals, another person scored 30 penalty goals, and this person scored only 5 penalty goals. Generally, me, I will rate this other person more than this person that is scoring penalty goals. I'm not saying penalty like this only in a case where you're going ban for ban and there's nothing to really use and differentiate. In this concept now, in that World Cup, Mbappe won three penalties in that World Cup which he did not take any. He won three penalties in that World Cup which he did not take any. His shot conversion rate was off the chart. Kylian fucking Mbappe, is it I'm not sure of the stats. I think he took 7 shots in that World Cup, had 5 on targets and scored 4 goals. His shot accuracy was off the chart. He might not have had goals and assists in terms of how he made it, but he was so influential in making sure they secured the goal which he scored in the final. He also scored the amazing performance he had against Argentina and one other game that he had in the group stage. That's the 3 games in which Kylian Mbappe scored in. And then let's not forget the amazing goal outside of the box screamer which he scored from in the finals. Your point is valid once you come up with Griezmann had a good run. But for me, I think people just give it to Griezmann because he was the most experienced player in the team in terms of experience. But in terms of who took this World Cup by a stroke of the hand, it was not Griezmann. I think it was Kylian Mbappe. Even in terms of creation rates, he was still being inside in terms of dribbling, in terms of ball carrying. In the final take, he was just suicidal. And I think that's why we rate, whether you like it or not, we rate attackers more than midfielders. We rate midfielders more than defenders, and we rate defenders more than keeper. If you like, I don't know, if you like, you lie to yourself, but that's why. In the Ballon d'Or, you see, like, I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
So let's talk about this thing logically, right? Man of the match awards, right, can be different. But when two people play for the same team and it's deemed that I am the man of the match, the most important man in this match, in a team we both play for, and by the course of the competition, I'm the one with the most awards for the best player generally accepted in our team, right? Kylian Mbappe is electrifying, but that's not what comes into context. He was electrifying and efficient, but who was most important to France in that World Cup run, right? Griezmann won a penalty and scored a penalty, right? Griezmann was the one who was trusted with the duty of converting the penalties and he never missed one, right? Griezmann had 2 assists, right? Griezmann had 570 minutes. Mbappe had 543 minutes. That's a 37 minutes difference. Griezmann has a 0.95 game and goal and assist ratio. Has Kylian Mbappe has let me get that stats right.
The mini stats, I don't think it correlates, sha. Check it again.
Yeah, Griezmann has 571 minutes, while Kylian Mbappe has 534 minutes. Griezmann has a 0.95 goal contribution per 90. Kylian Mbappe has a 0.6467 goal contribution per 90. Right? Even if Griezmann had more minutes, right? Per 90 on an average, Griezmann still had more contributions because most people bring up the point that Griezmann played more minutes. But an average per 90, Griezmann was more efficient and contributed more than Kylian Mbappe. Now, Kylian Mbappe might have been more electrifying, more big chances, but if you watch that World Cup, everything went through Antonio Griezmann, right? It's been dominant that Antonio Griezmann had more output than Kylian. He did. He had more man of the matches award. He did, right? There's no how you can twist it because Griezmann is they are both forward players. So it has to come down to output. When it comes to who linked up more with players in the game, it's Griezmann. Who did more on defensive duty? It's Griezmann. They both did equally as well in the attacking front. It's Griezmann. Kylian Mbappe had that spark, had that fire, had that moment of brilliance, which is cool. But it didn't mean that he had a better World Cup performance than Antonio Griezmann. It just didn't, right? That's what I have to say.
This is what I'm going. I don't want to hang on to the man of the match. Like I don't want to be wasting my time arguing about it. Like let me just use this finals which PSG played against your team. We had two good players in the team, Joao Neves and Vitinha. Those two players, Vitinha was given the man of the match. I personally think that Joao Neves was the man of the match. That is just my own argument. Like I'm not saying that these things sometimes don't play how we seemed. Like that's literally what I'm saying. People will still come out and say Vitinha should have gotten the man of the match. But if you think about logically, the two of them perform outrageously very, very good. I don't want to hang on to the man of the match. We can take this ban for ban, but as your opinion about the man of the match will still stick with you. In terms of minutes played, what I researched was in terms of minutes played, Griezmann had 80, an average of 80 something minutes played, and Mbappe had an average of 68 minutes played. That's what I checked. But the sources in this generation are just being mad, they'll be just saying back and forth. So different sources were saying differently. But what I know is Griezmann played most time than Kylian Mbappe. With still this, Kylian Mbappe was able to still have how many chances created? 9, while Griezmann having 10 in terms of attacking output. Don't get it twisted. It's not the reason Griezmann has an edge on Mbappe in that particular World Cup was the age that Griezmann had. They will not give Mbappe a set piece. An 18-year-old, they will not give him a set piece to take in the World Cup. At that point, they will not. Kylian Mbappe at that point will not take the set piece. Lamine Yamal, or which example should I use? Which player is well developed and old in Spain? If you called up Morata to the World Cup and you called up Lamine Yamal is the 18-year-old. He is possibly the best player still, but they will not still give him the penalty to take. Even in Barcelona, they had to tussle it out this season. From last season to this season, giving Rafinha before they now trusted him with taking the penalty set piece. If Griezmann was not a set piece taker, he wouldn't have scored those in terms of outputs. He wouldn't have given what do they call it? He wouldn't have gotten up to 4 goals. He would have had 1 goal. I'm not taking it away from him. If he was not still a set piece taker, he wouldn't have had 2 assists. But in the other hand, Mbappe did not. I'm not saying he did not have the stats. He had the stats, and I cannot take it away from him that he had the stats. But I don't know if you're seeing it from my side. Mbappe played less minutes than him, almost matched him in chances created, almost outscored him still. In terms of assists, the both of them were laid down by their teammates because both of them had 9 chances created, 10 chances created. Griezmann's 2 chances in terms of 10, the 2 chances that we converted were out of 6 pieces. So if not for that 6 pieces, he wouldn't have still had an assist. In terms of goals and assists going through the whole this thing, Mbappe was like, I think there's one match too that Mbappe did not necessarily play a high amount of minutes. Literally, Mbappe will always be like having lesser minutes because he's an 18-year-old and everything, and they will always go and give the best player to the elderly player. We also they did it in Euros. Yamal was the best player for Spain. He gave it to Rodri. In fact, some people are even saying Rodri was not even the best midfielder for Spain, but they still gave it to Rodri. I understand your point if you're coming with all this, but if you look at it logically, bro, the 3 penalties Griezmann scored, Mbappe won 3 penalties, did not still kick any, still scored 4 goals, took 7 shots, 5 on target, 4 goals, bro. One from outside the box. Nine chances created. Had one of the most dribbles in the competition. Go and check his ball carries. It was great in terms of attacking output. Oh, Mbappe was magnificent. Griezmann too was good, but what aged Griezmann in this World Cup was he was an older player than Kylian Mbappe. He was a set piece taker. If Kylian Mbappe was even 2 years older than what he was, I don't think they would have still collected those penalties and given to Antoine Griezmann. That's my whole point.
Now, let's take this thing very easy. It's not that deep because it's going back and forth, right? The man of the match thing, like you said, it can be really close if the two players are really close. But we're not talking about a game. We're talking about out of the course of the entire tournament. Both of them playing in the same team. Both of them played 7 games. Out of the course of the entire competition, Antonio Griezmann was said to be the best player for France and in the match more times than Kylian. Right? Kylian won 3 penalties, fair. Griezmann won one. Griezmann was more influential than Kylian in both ends of the pitch. If you take away Bruno Fernandes set pieces, do you know how many assists he ends up with? If you take away Kylian Mbappe's penalties this season, do you know how many goals he ends up with? It's part of the it's part of the game. It's all part of the game, right? Saying if he wasn't the set piece maker, but the thing is, he was. So because he converted it. As he converted it, he had more output. And it's not just about the output, but if it's just about numbers, Griezmann is there. Let's talk about the individual play apart from the output part in the team. Griezmann was more influential in both ends of the pitch. If you watch that World Cup, you can remember. Right? Griezmann was high pressing, came back for defensive duties, linked up more with the defense, the midfield, and forward than Kylian. Right? I don't remember because I didn't have time to find all these details. But Kylian was a winger. Most of his chances created, probably why their big chances created, could end up being cutbacks. It doesn't really take the full picture. A cutback pass is not this. It's easier if you want to say the assist winger. A cutback is not the same thing as taking a set piece. If everybody could take a set piece properly, there was Pogba in that team. If Pogba was a better corner kick taker than Antonio Griezmann at the time, as good as Pogba was, if there was a better set piece taker in the team, they would take it. Being able to take a corner kick is not an easy thing. I see people misplace corner kicks, don't grip it properly into the right areas. If Kylian was the best corner kick taker in the team, he would have taken it. Penalties comes down to pressure and experience who the team generally trusts to be the front man to convert these opportunities in those big pressure moments. And for that particular year, it wasn't Kylian that had that trust. It was Griezmann. And he didn't let the trust go wasted. So I genuinely want to say to you that Kylian had an amazing World Cup, but over the course of the 7 games, in both ends of the pitch, as good as Kylian was, he wasn't just better than Antonio for that particular competition. It wasn't just. It just had to be Antonio. Griezmann will probably never have that pick. Griezmann is not a better World Cup player than Kylian for France. But in that particular World Cup and that particular World Cup alone, Antonio Griezmann was just better. It's close, but he was just better. He had a better performance. He had more output. So even as much as we loved Kylian, if Kylian was probably the set piece taker and the penalty taker, he would have probably had more output. But that's the thing. We are arguing who had a better World Cup from what happened without changing anything that did happen. From everything that did happen and was recorded that did happen, and they put them side by side, even if you want to go back to film, you would say it's close. But I would just age it to Griezmann. But it's close. That's my argument.
I'm meant to hit on the man of the match talk again. You said that one is one match, but the man of the match is where Griezmann had three, Mbappe had one. If that could happen in one match, who said it cannot happen in two? That's just now. The man of the match, like every point you're saying, the man of the match does not just make sense personally for me. Oh. I know they are in the same team, but personally, they don't just make sense for me. In terms of set piece, I think Pogba was still taking set pieces. The two of them were like coincidentally, they were three set piece takers for France that season. And in terms of, I'm not saying you should take away Griezmann's this thing, but I'm not saying Mbappe. It is his age that is holding people back to seeing that he was literally the best player in the team. Bro, to win three penalties is not more. It's not more plus already scoring four open play goals. Is it two or one from outside the box? Still creating nine big chances. I doubt, I really doubt their cutbacks. Because if you remember the clips of how electrifying Kylian mbappe was, what plays in your head, you don't really remember any cutback specifically. If it's just corner kicks or corner kicks and chance creation, I can understand. I can give it to Griezmann. I'll never argue because you know Kylian Mbappe is not a corner kick taker. But if it's down to those penalties, Mbappe would have taken those penalties if not for his age. A year after, 2 years later, Griezmann was not taking penalties over Kylian Mbappe. You now brought up the fact of Kylian Mbappe now in Real Madrid. If you remove his penalty goals and bro, if you remove Kylian Mbappe penalty goals, he's still one of the top scorers in the La Liga. He's still one of the top scorers in the top five leagues. If you remove Bruno Fernandes assists, he will still have is it the most assists in Premier League or the second most behind Chelsea. He still has is it Bruno still has the most chances created in the Premier League. Not and I don't even think it's close in terms of most chances created which Bruno has in the Premier League. So these are different scenarios. If you take away the three goals, the three penalty goals which Griezmann scored, which was won by Kylian Mbappe, and give it to Kylian Mbappe, it is not close. It is 8-1 or is it 7-1? This one I'm not saying keep his assist, cause let me just say the France national team failed the two of them in terms of converting it. Forget the part that he's the one taking corner kicks. Cause truthfully too, corner kicks, Pogba was taking corner kicks. Pogba, how many assists did Pogba get? How many assists did all these other players get? With what he was doing, I know you also say Griezmann was most influential in the ending part of the match in the defensively and attacking wise. But me and you know that in terms of strikers and wingers, they are not the ones doing both defensively and attacking wise. I don't know if you understand. They are not the one doing both defensively and attacking wise. So I was never expecting for Mbappe to be in that rate or ratio of that. Griezmann had a good tournament, but I just think that they sugar-coated it. He carried Mbappe to the back just because of his age, and other than that, I think he should have won the player. And you saying us having the conversation who are the better, obviously, it's not even a conversation because they already gave the player of the tournament. And it was Anton Griezmann that collected it.
No, no, it was second. It
It
was
was
Corey Modric.
okay. On the player of the tournament itself, they even gave it to Modric and Tom Griezmann before any other person. So the argument is not based on we are just stating the other facts now, factors which would have changed for ourselves and trying to convince you into seeing these other factors. Yeah, another thing to say.
Of course.
Okay.
So, right? Give me a minute, right? Because as he spoke, I decided to do a little bit of fact checking. And from what I fact checked, I just found out that Kylian Mbappe only won one penalty, just one. And one of the other penalties that Griezmann converted, he won it himself. Now, Antonio Griezmann won the penalty versus Australia, then scored the penalty himself. Kylian Mbappe won a penalty versus Argentina, right? The other penalties in the Croatia was won by a handball by Ivan Perisic, and the other the other was also a handball as well. So, unlike popular opinion, they both won equal numbers, which shall be put on the screen while edited, so that everybody can see for himself. Because it's ChatGPT, but yeah. So, it was just a bad source in general. But from what I fact checked, uh, Kylian and Griezmann had both the exact same number of penalties won, and Griezmann scored three. Sorry, so just probably a bad source because we had to go behind the scenes because he did his check and stuff. Because me, I didn't know anything about the penalties one at all. Wasn't part of the research I made, so I just had to ask some questions and I found out mid shoot. So that debunks that particular argument for the fun of it. Everybody has their opinion on who they think was a better player in the tournament, right? I just think that Griezmann just about edges it. I still think that Kylian was my second most influential player for that tournament. I also think that Conte wasn't so bad far behind as well. So that's are all my points on who I think had a better tournament, but it's close. Like it's close. It's not far off. That's what I think.
My bad, please. I don't know what sources are giving me here, and I was confidently saying things like I actually checked this, and from the same source which I checked, I double checked again, and by all corrections, Kylian Mbappe did not win three penalties. He won only one penalty. So if you can help me correcting that, and he only plays in his points more, but still, Griezmann scored three penalties out of four goals. Maybe he won one, scored one open play goals, but compared to Mbappe, who won a penalty and still scored four goals, like in open play. See, my own point is that if Mbappe was not a set piece taker, that's why that's the difference maker in this thing. In fact, it's not even about if Mbappe was not a set piece. If Mbappe was not 18 years old, it's not about set piece taking. I'm not talking about if Mbappe was not 18 years old, he would have won the best player for that tournament or the second best player. So I think in opinions, everybody have who's their best player. Me, I think for me it was Kylian in terms of electrifying ball carries, shots. The way he was just running through defense was incredible for me. Don't get me wrong, Griezmann was actually underrated at the point of my life. But in terms of defensive duty and chance creation and linking up, he was better than Kylian Mbappe in that, obviously, and the stats don't lie. But I just think that this whole matter was decided by Kylian Mbappe's age mostly. Even when giving the best player the second best player in the tournament, that's just what I think.
Right? And I agree with Brody Bro, right? I think that Griezmann was definitely the best player. And I think that Kylian Mbappe was just way too electrifying and way too exciting to watch. But who was just better for that French team? I would just urge it to Griezmann. But I won't get offended when people said it was Kylian. But most of the time, some of the things that Griezmann does that makes him not special goes unnoticed. That's the thing, right? But it's still an amazing take, still an amazing discussion going into this World Cup. Like, comment, subscribe to Trouble FC, get him to like 200 subs. So let's get over 1K subs this World
Next
Cup.
month. By the
But
end of this World Cup,
we should be both of our channels should be on 1K.
cause
Subscribe to Trouble FC,
bro,
subscribe to Game Day Central. We love you all and see. Let us know your takes as well. Let us know the next discussion that you would like to see. And see you in the next video. Peace.